Hello everyone, my name is Junmark Obreros from BSIT S2A, and this is my activity 1 for the subject operating system, which is we're gonna be comparing Windows 95, 98, ME, XP, Vista, 7, 8 and 8.1, 10 and 11. So my agenda for this are vendor support, code name, system type, system requirements, features, application compatibility, backup and restore procedures, and installation procedures. So let's start up with Windows 95. So the vendor support of Windows 95 provide support until December 31, 2001, and the code name of Windows 95 was Chicago. Next is for the system type, which is the architecture of the Windows 95. So Windows 95 moved from a mainly cooperatively multitask 16-bit architecture to 32-bit primitive multitasking architecture. So the system requirements of Windows 95 is that the minimum requirements or the minimum hardware requirements for Windows 95 were an Intel 386DX CPU of any speed, 4 MB of system RAM, and 50 to 55 MB of hard disk space. So the features of Windows 95, it introduced the Start menu, taskbar, notification area, and plug-and-play features. It also supported long file names and had built-in networking software. For the application compatibility of Windows 95, it maintained compatibility with MS-DOS and 16-bit Windows applications. For compatibility with older apps, Microsoft provided a compatibility administrator utility. Next is for the backup and restore procedures of Windows 95. So Windows 95 had built-in backup and restore procedures. The registry could be backed up and restored using the system restore feature. For the last one, which is the installation procedures of Windows 95, it involved creating a boot disk, running the setup program, and following the prompts to configure the system. So now let's move on to Windows 98. So the vendor support of Windows 98 ended up on July 11, 2006, and the codename of Windows 98 was Memphis. Next is for the system type architecture. So Windows 98 is a hybrid 16-bit and 32-bit monolithic product with the boot stage based on MS-DOS. It also supports IA32 platforms. The system requirements of Windows 98 has a minimum of 66 MHz, 486DX computer, 16 MB of memory, VGA monitor, mouse or compatible pointing device, keyboard, floppy disk drive or CD-ROM. The typical installation requires about 195 MB of hard disk space. Next is for the features of Windows 95. So Windows 98 rather. So Windows 98 introduced features such as improved USB support, accessibility, support for hardware advancements like DVD players, disk cleanup, Windows Update, multi-monitor support, and internet connection sharing. Next is for the application compatibility. Windows 98 is compatible with many programs and games designed for Windows 95, 98, or XP. Compatibility mode can be used to run older programs. Next is for the backup and restore procedures. Windows 98 includes a backup utility that can be used to perform regular system backups. The utility can back up and restore the Windows 98 registry. Next and last for the installation procedures. The installation of Windows 98 involves booting from a CD-ROM, selecting Start Windows 98 Setup from CD-ROM, formatting the primary drive, specifying the location of Windows installation, selecting the components to install, and starting the execution of the actual backup job. Now let's move on to Windows ME. The vendor support of Windows ME was ended until July 11, 2006, and the code name of it is Millennium. Next, the system type or architecture of Windows ME is part of the Windows 9X family and is based on a hybrid 16 to 32-bit monolithic kernel. The system requirements of Windows ME is that it requires Pentium 150 MHz processor, 32 MB RAM, 480 MB to 645 MB free hard disk space, VGA monitor, CD-ROM drive, 28.8 KBS modem, sound card, speakers, and a Microsoft mouse. The features of Windows ME includes Internet Explorer 5.5.1, Windows Media Player 7, and the new Windows Movie Maker software. It also incorporated features first introduced in Windows 2000. The application compatibility of Windows ME removed Real Mode DOS, which affected compatibility with some older applications. However, compatibility issues can often be resolved using the program compatibility troubleshooter. Next is backup and restore procedures. So Windows ME included a backup utility that could be accessed through the System Tools menu. It allows users to back up their files to a variety of locations. And for the installation procedures of Windows ME, so it involves running the setup program from the installation CD. The process includes steps such as creating a partition on the hard drive, formatting the partition, and copying system files. Next is Windows XP. So vendor support of Windows XP mainstream support ended on April 14, 2009. Extended support ended on April 8, 2014. Exceptions exist until at most April 9, 2019. The codename of Windows XP was Whistler. Next is for the system type, architecture, or of system. What I mean is system type or architecture of Windows XP. So it has IA32 x86 64, or it means it is capable of 32-bit and 64-bit, and it is also a Itanium. So next is the system requirements of Windows XP. So the minimum is 233 MHz CPU, 64 megabytes RAM, 1.5 GB HDD, 8 MB VRAM. So the recommended is 300 MHz CPU, 128 MHz or megabytes RAM, 3 gigabytes HDD, and 16 megabytes VRAM. Next is the features of Windows XP. The, fe- the features includes enhanced user interface, enhanced security, enhanced Windows product activation, improved networking, improved Windows Explorer, support for LCDs, fast booting, new hibernation mode, multiple monitor support, and automated system recovery. Next is application compatibility. Compatible with most applications designed for Windows 9X, ME, and Windows NT/2000. Some older applications may require compatibility mode or patches. For the backup and restore procedures, Windows XP offers a backup utility for creating and restoring system backups, allowing users to access it from start, all programs, accessories, system tools, or third-party softwares or cloud storage services. For the installation procedures of Windows XP, it is widely used operating system that can be installed via various methods including bootable CD-ROMs, DVDs, or USB flash drives. Next is Windows Vista. For Windows Vista, it was supported by Microsoft from January 30, 2007 to April 11, 2017. The codename of Windows Vista is called Longhorn. The system type of it is supported both 32-bit and 64-bit architectures. And the system requirements of it is that the minimum is Vista where requires a minimum of 800 megahertz processor, 512 megabytes of RAM, 20 gigabytes of hard disk space and or with 15 GB free. DirectX 9 graphics device with WDDM 1.0 or higher driver. The features of Windows Vista is that a popular operating system boasted numerous features, including an aerographical user interface, Windows sidebar, Windows Defender, Windows Firewall, Windows Search, Windows Media Center, and Ultimate Extras. For application and compatibility of Windows Vista, it is face compatibility issues with older software, requiring administrator privileges or non-standard installation methods. Microsoft provided tools and resources to resolve these issues. The backup and restore procedures of Windows Vista offers a backup and restore feature enabling users to create backups of files, folders, or drives, restore them in case of data loss, and create a system repair disk for recovery. So the installation procedures of it is that it offers users the option to perform a clean or upgrade install with tools like Windows System Image Manager and Windows pre-installation environment, allowing customization of the installation process. Excuse me. Next is uh, Next is Windows 7. So the vendor support of Windows 7 is that Microsoft ended its support for Windows 7 on January 14, 2020. However, most antivirus vendors continued to support Windows 7 systems until at least 2022. So the codename of Windows 7 is that it is also called Windows 7 by itself. The system type of it is that it supports both 32-bit and 64-bit architectures. And the system requirements of it is that it requires 1 GB or 1 gigahertz or faster 32-bit x86 or 64-bit processor. And then it also requires 1 GB RAM 32-bit or 2 GB RAM 64-bit. You also need to require 16 GB available hard disk space or 20 GB on 64-bit. DirectX 9 graphics device with WDDM 1.0 or higher driver. The features of Windows 7 introduce advancement in touch, speech, and handwriting recognition. Support for visual hard disk, improved performance on multi-core processors, improved boot performance, and kernel improvements. The application compatibility of Windows 7 is that most applications created or tama, most application created for earlier version of Windows will work on Windows 7, but some older ones might run poorly or not at all. Windows 7 has a compatibility mode for running older applications. For the backup and restore procedures, Windows 7 has a built-in tool named Backup and Restore. It allows users to back up their files and system and restore them when needed. For installation procedures, the installation of Windows 7 involves booting from the installation DVD or USB, selecting language, accepting license terms, choosing the installation type, and following the step-by-step procedure. Next is Windows 8/8.1. So Microsoft mainstream support ended on January 12, 2016, but it is extended support ended on June July 11, 2023. The code name for it was Blue, and the system type of Windows 8 and 8.1 supports both 32-bit and 64-bit architectures, the same as the others. The system requirements was 1 GHz processor, 1 GB RAM, 16 GB hard drive. The features of it is that it has touchscreen support, start screen, multi-language support, security features, Windows Store, and integration. The application compatibility is that most Windows applications are compatible, but some older programs may not work. Backup and restore procedures. So this is the procedure of backing and restoring in Windows 8 or Windows 8.1. So you need to click the system restore, file history, backup and restore, and it is also available for Windows 7, the same as the procedures on Windows 7. The installation procedures of it is also the same as the Windows 7. So you need to boot from installation media like DVD or USB, and you need to follow on-screen instructions. Next is Windows 10. So Microsoft mainstream support until October 14, 2025, and it will be extended support until October 13, 2030. The codename of Windows 10 is Threshold or Threshold. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it is called that. Threshold or Threshold. Let's move on. System type of Windows 10. So it is supported by 32-bit and 64-bit architectures just like other Windows. So system requirements, 1 GHz processor or faster, 1 GB RAM for 32-bit or 2 GB for 64-bit, 16 GB hard drive for 32-bit or 20 GB for 64-bit. Next is for the features. So it has Start menu, Cortana Virtual Assistant, Action Center, Task View, Virtual Desktop, Microsoft Edge Browser, Universal Windows Platform, Continuum for devices with boot or with both touch and keyboard/mouse, Windows Hello Biometric Security, Xbox integration, Game Bar, and Game Mode. So for the application compatibility of Windows 10, most Windows applications are compatible. Windows 10 includes compatibility features for older programs. The backup and restore procedures is that it is also the same as the Windows 7 and Windows 8. So also the same as the installation procedures of Windows 7 and 8. So you need the DVD USB and then boot from installation media, following screen instruction and activate Windows 10. Next but not the least, or I mean this is the last, which is the Windows 11. Microsoft mainstream supports until October 13, 2026, extended support until October 14, 2031, and the codename of Windows 11 is called Sun Valley. Next is for the system type architecture. So Windows 11 supports 32-bit and 64-bit architecture. And the system requirements is 1 GHz processor or faster with 2 or more cores, 4 GB RAM, 64 GB hard drive space, TPM 2.0, secure boot, and UEFI. The features is that it is redesigned start menu and start or redesigned start menu and taskbar, centered app icons, widgets, snap layouts, Teams integration, Android app support, redesigned settings app, improved performance and multitasking, enhanced security features, and new Microsoft Store. For application compatibility, most Windows applications are compatible. Improve compatibility with Android apps. For backup and restore procedures, it is also the same for the Windows 7, 8, and 10. Also the same as for the installation procedures. of Windows 11 or Windows 11 is also the same as the installation procedures of Windows 7, 8, and then 10. So yeah, that's all about the um, comparison of all the Windows version. And I'm gonna be showing the um what do you call this? I'm gonna be showing the plagiarism check. Wait a minute. So here is the plagiarism content. I have 13% and I have unique content of 87%. So here it is. I just copy paste all the informations here in this or here in this website. So yeah, that's all about my activity one and thank you for listening and watching.